Yo, PC fam, what's going on with y'all? Welcome to another episode of Chill with Chill. This is our Saturday episode. You know how much I love these Saturday episodes. It's gonna be a good one today. The sun is shining out here, man. Let's get to it. Chill Town, what's going on?
Big Ox be getting hyped for the Saturday shows. It's like the run. It's like the run on the weekend. Like the run on the week is good, but like that run on Saturday, like when everybody off work or when like the dudes is at school, this kind of feel like that kind of run. So Big Ox, his energy is up a little bit more on Saturday than when it would be like on Tuesday. Not that he ain't ready, because he ready to get it on, but them Saturday runs is a little bit different than the Wednesday run.
Man, chill, you're not lying too, because I can relate to that right now. Because I was just getting back into it, and there's a league out here in Portland called the Round Ball League, where a lot of like ex overseas guys and stuff like that, guys that just got out of college, like, so it's real good run over there. But I was playing it, but I got to go get my knee cleaned out one more time. I got a little situation, but I can't. As soon as I get done with that, I'm back out there every Sunday.
Back to it.
those weekend runs are crazy, Chill Town. I love it. It's actually some good hoop out here in Portland. I don't know if you know, it's a good basketball culture as far as like they put out here in Portland.
Okay, first and foremost, let's get to the bottom of one thing. I've been watching the NBA since the late 70s. One of the things I found out, my uncle introduced me to basketball, and he introduced me to basketball cities. It ain't a lot of basketball cities out here, Big Ox. Like New York is a basketball city. DC is a basketball city, right? Let's see. New York, DC, Atlanta is a basketball city. Indiana is a basketball city. Contrary to what you guys think, Portland is a basketball city. It's ballers up there, yo. Don't let the fact that the Trailblazers is up there and it's just people watching the Trailblazers. No, it is ballers up there. It's good colleges up there. University of Portland is up there. Portland State is up there. So it's ballers in that town, yo. It's real good run in that area. It is real good run up there. 100% it is.
For sure. But what was going on last night? You checked out some games?
I did check out some games last night, man. One of the games that I checked out in particular was I wanted to see how Minnesota came out after the break. I wanted to see what they had for the second half of the season, and they didn't disappoint. Even though they lost, they didn't disappoint because their offense got a little stagnant. And in the third quarter, that's where Portland blew it open. But the thing that I love about Minnesota, and I've talked to you about this a bunch of different times, Big Ox, the thing that I love about Minnesota is I love their defense. I love how this team consistently plays defense. I might not love their offense, even though they get in their offense and they can score. I've said this to you guys countless times. The Minnesota Timberwolves have had fourth quarter leads plenty of times. They've just been inconsistent in closing games, but they'll get back in the game. 100% they will. I watched Ant crack the long ball a couple of different times. I watched Cat make some big shots. I think the difference is that they find themselves with their offense getting stagnant, they find themselves without a legit bailout. What I mean when I say a legit bailout is when the Lakers had Kobe and Shaq, when the triangle would get stagnant, you could just get a ball to Kobe and he would go. Same thing with the Bulls. When the triangle would get stagnant, you can get a ball to Jordan. When the offense would get stagnant with the Golden State Warriors, you could get a ball to Steph, and he could get you a shot. Things like that. You could get a ball to James, he could get you a shot. Things like that was working. With the Minnesota Timberwolves, when the offense gets stagnant, you could give the ball to Ant. The problem is that he's a little inconsistent. He's not like guys like Shea, where I feel like there's something that he could go to on the regular to get you a bucket. I don't think he's there yet. I think he's getting close. I just don't think he's there yet. Cat, on the other hand, Cat is the guy who's putting his head down and going downhill, but that's really not his game. And I think that's where he gets himself in trouble. Cat is more of a finesse big whose game is outside in. He plays from 15 feet and to start the game. But when we get late in the game, or when we get in the meat and potatoes of the game, he'll put his head down and try to go to the basket. His finishing was a little bit suspect last night, but he was cracking the long ball. I thought that they could have gone to Rudy a little bit more than they did around the rim.
What happened in that third quarter? Because that's where the game. Yeah, that's what it. So that third quarter. Let me look. I'm going to break it down. So that third quarter,
30-2.
30-2 fast break. So it's 20 or not fast break. I'm sorry. Run. So there's the third quarter was 36-13. Minnesota had 13 points in the third quarter.
Yep.
So that's it's things like that why I say like we were talking about it the other day or yesterday.
Right. Right.
To me, clutch isn't just the end of that game. Like Anthony Edwards or Karl Anthony Towns being clutch would have been to stop that run. Okay, let me weather the storm. Maybe it goes as soon as it gets to 8-0 run. Okay, we need to get a bucket, a stop and a bucket, make this game, keep it here because they were up 7 at halftime, right? I believe they were up 7 at halftime, up 6 or something. So that's why, and like you're saying, that's why I'm worried about Minnesota just for reasons like that.
I would be Big Ox if they didn't play defense. And since we're on the subject of defense, which I can't believe I'm actually saying this, but Milwaukee played defense last night. They did. That was one of as stagnant as that Minnesota offense got. You know, people talk about their offense being stagnant. Milwaukee actually played defense last night. I saw Dame get in the stance and attempt to get a stop. Malik Beasley will actually compete on the defensive end. Don't get me wrong. Brook Lopez cracking the long ball. I mean, you can't really prepare for that for a 7-footer. But as far as their offense, I got to give Milwaukee credit for the fact that they were holding Minnesota to one shot, rebounding, and getting out in transition. They did do that a number of different times. It wasn't just a situation where Minnesota was just missing shots. It wasn't just that. Milwaukee actually did play some defense last night. And the addition of Pat Beverly did help them. I will not argue that. But as far as their offense, I don't think that it's what people think it is. I think the biggest problem is Ant being inconsistent as a one-on-one player. They get damn good action in terms of their offense. They get dribble handoffs. Not only do they get dribble handoffs, they get down screens, they get cross screens, they get double screen action. They get double pick and roll action. And that stuff opens up a lot of what's going on with Ant. That stuff opens up a lot of what's going on with Cat. One of the things that they don't have that should be better, they don't score very well in transition. That's one of their biggest problems. I think they're in the top. I think they're an average transition team. I think they had 15 transition points last night. They get out and run. They just don't.
Minnesota had 7 points in the fast break.
7 points in the fast break last night.
7 fast break points, and they had 6 points off of turnovers.
Right. They don't get out and they don't get out and run, and they don't convert in transition like a team like that should. Being the defensive team that they are, the turnovers that they create, how they rebound, they should be playing faster. And I don't think that has anything to do with guys like Mike Conley, because Mike Conley is going to get you shots. Mike Conley's going to get you shots. He's going to get you involved in the offense, particularly in transition. But a lot of those dudes like Slow-Mo, Ant, Cat, they don't run to the rim. They primarily run to the long ball line. And that's where their transition offense gets screwed up a lot, because Rudy's the only one who runs to the rim.
Right. They could use one of those spark guys off the bench. You know, like how I would maybe like a Karis LeVert, like what Delonte West used to be. Guys like that. Malik Monk's guys, they don't have to be that good, but somebody that could come off the bench and spark this game up. And
Naz Reid did that, Big Ox. And Naz Reid did that. And Naz Reid did do that last night. He gave them some really good minutes, which we also don't really talk about in terms of Minnesota's defense. That's why I don't worry about their offense as much. And the reason why I don't worry about their offense as much is because their defense is going to keep them in games. That's the thing that's consistent. We don't have a lot of teams that is consistent on defense. Their defense is going to keep them in games. Big Ox, just so you know, Milwaukee had a 17-point lead in the fourth quarter. Minnesota cut it to 4. And we got a 2-possession game with 3 minutes. So they'll get back in the game, and they'll get back in the game not just because they could score. They'll get back in the game because they could get you stops. And they were able to do that last night. They just weren't able to convert late in the game. I don't think that that's a trend moving forward. I just feel like with this team, I feel like defensively, they're going to give you everything that you need. It's just when we get into the meat and potatoes of the game, they just have to be more consistent offensively. Because, again, they're getting the looks that they need. They get the action that they need. It's just a matter of converting it.
Yeah, right. Okay, so what? You check out any other games? What was next?
Yeah, I did watch a little bit of that Clippers Memphis game, and for a team as bad as Memphis is, damn, Ox, them dudes compete. Them dudes compete, and I can't argue with a team like that competes the way they do. They did a damn good job on James Harden last night, pushing him away from the basket, forcing him into tough shot. He only made one bucket last night, and it wasn't just because it was an off night. That's not why he made one bucket. He made one bucket because they gave him hell, right? They gave him hell. Guys like Luke Kennard and these G League guys that they have, Santi Adama, they really were all over him. GG Jackson got switched on to him. I thought that they did a damn good job on James Harden last night in particular. And for a team to be this bad, I wouldn't expect them. I wouldn't expect them to compete the way that they're doing, but they are. They are. That's why I look at Memphis and I'm thinking to myself, I wouldn't be surprised next year if Memphis is in the Western Conference Championship because they get everybody. I mean, they lost Steven Adams, but I think that's something that they could show up in the offseason. I think they can, and they lost Williams to Boston, but I think that's some stuff that they can show up in the offseason. They get Desmond Bane back, they get Ja back, they get Marcus Smart back. Jaren Jackson is going to be back. I think that they're going to shore up that front line, and I wouldn't be surprised.
Brandon Clark too.
Brandon Clark back also. I wouldn't be surprised if I saw Memphis make a deep playoff run next year. That would not.
Well, you know, adversity. That adversity, getting through adversity, really does something for a team. It does something for people, person, just in regular day life. Anything, adversity makes you stronger. But for a team to go from that high to this low, and for the reasons it's happening. That adversity could really bring this team together. I could see.
I think it will, and I think it will, Big Ox. I do.
And the competitive factor that you brought up for Memphis just a moment ago, like what was my man's name that was on the show Thursday? Trey? Was it? No, it wasn't. The guest we had on the panel on Thursday, the brother that has the training program was talking about.
I think it is Trey. I think that's his name.
Okay, was Trey. Okay, yeah. So I was really feeling when he was talking about just competing, like how, you know, and you might not be able to create or teach certain aspects, but you can teach people how to compete. Tremaine, yeah, thanks, Claire, appreciate it. Yeah, Tremaine, shout out to him, shout out to his program, shout out to everything he got going on. But I was really enjoying that segment because I disagree that you can't teach competitiveness. That's something that I believe you can teach. You know, something that we can when you're even from a younger age. Like it's different from when you're just going through drills and just learning things. But when you matched up and you got to compete, You know, we're pushing that. And so I think that's something they probably do in Memphis, you know, at practice or during the offseason or something. Like, now we got to get that competitive nature, that those competitive juices flowing. Even my son shut down. We're competing. We're not out here just playing. Now you beat your brother. You know what I'm saying? You guys beat him. You know,
absolutely.
So I like that from and there's certain programs or certain not programs teams that are going to be like that. Miami, Miami's going to be like that. Memphis, you know, they've been like that for forever. I see Tibbs instilling that back into New York. So just teams like that, you know, you enjoy to see that.
Now remember, Big Ox, who you talking about here. So you just ran down who Memphis has out of their lineup. No Ja, no Desmond Bane, no Marcus Smart, no Brandon Clark, right? All of these guys. So who are they left with? They left with a bunch of non-guaranteed contracts and a bunch of G League guys. So what are these dudes doing? They fighting for jobs right now.
Right.
These dudes are fighting for jobs right now. In the process of them fighting for jobs, yo, I'm out here. I'm not just auditioning for Memphis. I'm auditioning for somebody else too. So every night we go out, I'm not just fighting to keep my job here if I am under contract. I'm also auditioning for somebody else who might see me. The Clippers might look at Santi, right? The Clippers might look at GG Jackson and be like, what can we do to get him? New Orleans, all of these young guys are competing for jobs next year. So of course they're going to play harder now than they probably would if they've already secured the bag. And I think that's a good thing, to be quite honest with you, because I actually get to see, one, if you have that in you, because you just brought up you could teach being competitive. Here's the thing, Big Ox. I always felt like you have that in you. It's either you have it in you or you don't. Now, what happens is a coach like yourself, you could bring that competitiveness out of me.
Right.
That's what I feel like. I feel like you've always been able to do that. I don't think I can teach you to compete. I feel like I can hone your skill. And the reason why I feel like I can hone your skill, because you might compete and you might be doing it in a detrimental way. So Big Ox, what he'll do is, okay, you clearly got that competitiveness in you. All right, I got to show you how to compete, where it's not detrimental to the whole crew, where it's not detrimental to you, where you're doing something where you're going to get kicked out of the game, where you're going to screw our team up or something like that. All right, I got to teach you
type situation.
Right. I got to teach you how to be disciplined in your competitiveness. But it's obvious that you got it in you. And a lot of these dudes that's in the league, well, I don't think you can get that far if you don't have that competition level in you. I don't think that you can get that far if you're not that kind of competitor. I think it's lost with a lot of these guys because, one, they've secured the bag, so there's no real incentive except pride, which a lot of these guys don't have. And two, because they move around so much and there's really no, I don't think, connection with the unit. For example, Big Ox, when Magic was with the Lakers, like I knew Magic was going to be on the Lakers for a long time. I knew Bird was going to be with the Celtics for a long time. I knew Jordan was going to be with the Bulls. I felt like when the Lakers beat the Indiana in the NBA championship, I felt like Kobe and Shaq. I was like, yo, these dudes are going to be around for a while, so you might want to get used to seeing them. So I feel like that connection and playing for the Lakers, playing for the Knicks, playing for Sacramento even. Like I was actually surprised, but I dug the fact that Chris Webber stayed up there. The fact that he stayed up there and saw what it was and was like, yo, I want to be a part of this. I don't think that's there anymore. So I think that's another reason why we don't see the competition level like we used to.
Yeah, that's definitely a good point. Definitely a good point. Just guys bouncing around from different teams and whatnot.
Yeah,
that definitely makes a difference. Besides, so that was Memphis and LA. What other games were there last night?
Since we're on the subject of competing, how about the Miami Heat in New Orleans last night? I mean, that's competition at its finest right there. Right. That's competition at its finest. A lot of people will see the thing that always bothered me was people see guys getting into skirmishes. Because if we're being honest, Big Ox, we ain't really throwing hands, right? We ain't really doing that. We getting into a pushing match, and I might grab your shirt, you might grab mine, stuff like that. People see that and they get excited, but they don't know why they're getting excited. They just think, yo, these dudes is fine. I'm like, no, there's a reason why this is important. This is important, number one, because if I see Big Ox get into it with the big man, I'm gonna get involved in that because I need Big Ox to know that I got his back. Right. And in the process of me having his back, we're gonna ride together. And that's gonna get us to be even more competitive, right? And we're gonna compete harder. We don't trip about hard fouls. Zion wasn't tripping on that foul. That's part of the game. Now, what happened with Jimmy and Marshall? Okay, that's just getting my team riled up. We leave it on the floor. At the end of the day, that's what it is. But that's who the Miami Heat are. And in the process of the Miami Heat being that, New Orleans now knows that in order for us to compete at that level, because again, we talking about a team that was in the NBA Finals last year, Big Ox. We ain't talking about a team that's just good. We're talking about a team that was in the NBA Finals last year. Well, in order for us to compete at that level, we got to match that intensity. We got to match that competitiveness because we're not just going to out-talent them. We're not just going to out-physical them. No, we have to match what they do. And I think one of the things that Miami did last night was they made New Orleans bow down, so to speak. They didn't have New Orleans. New Orleans didn't match that competitiveness. Miami basically took it away from them. Jimmy Butler is such the consummate competitor because what he'll do is he'll get you engaged in that sort of stuff. He ended up getting thrown out of the game last night. But him getting thrown out of he ended up, it was like 4 of them that got thrown out of the game last night. But with him getting thrown out of the game, that actually charged up the Heat because, this is who we are. And these dudes now think because our man is gone that we're going to roll over. No, we're not.
Right.
No, we are not.
Yeah, you can see that. Like, man, if my best player going that hard, I gotta go. I gotta go that hard. I've even seen coaches like, and sometimes I like it. it depends on what type of person you are, as far as like if you like the rah stuff, you like it, the antics. Sometimes I enjoy it to a certain extent. I do,
right?
But so you know how like a coach, maybe in like maybe more of a college level, even sometimes like high school or something, more so a college level, I think, where you know your team's kind of getting beat down, might be 4 or 5 minutes left, and he like, I got to take a tech. Like
he'll just get a tech. Yeah, he'll
like,
get a tech.
I got to take a tech. I mean, the refs are kind of just going around, and we're the atmosphere is against us. Like, no, let's turn this up. Like it's a physical game. Yeah, I'm tripping. I need that tech. We're gonna take that 30 seconds. They're gonna make those free throws, and we're gonna go on a run. Right. You know, I've seen coaches do that, and
yes, and it's worked. To be honest with you, and it's worked. But I thought what I saw with Miami last night. I mean, shout out to Bam Adebayo. And shout out to the Miami Heat for not giving up on him. I'm so glad that they didn't give up on him like everybody else wanted them to. Should we move on from Bam? Instead of challenging, they challenged him to get better. They didn't let him off the hook. I'm saying
you love that, Showtown. I know you love that when a team just makes a player play and get better.
Ox, I'm not letting you off the hook. No, Big Ox, we got in a fight, so now we breaking up. That's it. We got in a fight, one fight. Soon we get in a fight, we breaking up. No, get better. I got to get better. You got to get better. Stop letting these guys off the hook when it doesn't go your way early. No, demand that these dudes get better. In Miami, instead of getting rid of Bam, instead of shipping Bam off, we got a 20-10 guy in his best years, which I think are right now, Big Ox. I think from right now, probably maybe another 4 or 5 years. I think these are his best years. Bam is 26. I think I can get another 4 or 5 years of him at this. I think these are his 20-10 years. They recognize that. We got a 20-10 guy. We got arguably the best defensive player in the game. I'm not letting him off the hook by going, this is not good, and maybe he's just not it. No, you're gonna get better. I'm not letting you out of this. You're gonna get better, and I'm gonna work with you to get you better. It's not just push him out there and throw him in the middle of the ocean and he doesn't know how to swim. No, I'm gonna make you get better. I'm gonna show you how to get better. We're gonna work on your post game. We're gonna work on your in-game decision making. We're gonna work on all of that. So when it's time for you to excel, you're gonna do that, as opposed to he can't hit a mid-range jump shot. Let's get rid of him. How about you make him work on it? How about you make him get better at that? And Miami did that. And Bam has now been a 20-10 guy this entire season. He looks like he's going to make the All-League defensive team. Bam has been fantastic for that crew, man. Made the All-Star team this year. I'm not surprised at what Bam is doing at all. Tyler Herro got hurt last night, but I think in another situation, I think he might have sat down. But him playing in that culture, he recognized, I gotta ride for my guys. So he ends up hopping up. No, I'm good. I'm okay. I'm okay. And then he got back to it. I love what I saw out of Miami last night. That grit and that heart. Definitely. I love what I saw out of them.
Now, Chill, you brought it up. Let's dive into it a little further. If Miami, let's say Miami would have seen Bam and like, you know what, this is going to work, and they would have moved off. And let's say Bam went to a team that had somebody there to develop him. I don't know where, but just anywhere.
Right.
Miami would regret that so much right now. There's no way they would have got the value back for Bam, that the value that he is right now. He's one of the more valuable guys for a team out there right now.
So imagine 2 years ago, let's say 2 years ago when they lost in the Eastern Conference Finals. Imagine Miami saying, you know what, Bam is just not it, and they move off him and they send him to Memphis. Now he's running in the front court with Jaren Jackson. And he's running around with those kids and what they're doing down there in Memphis. How much better he would have gotten. And then now all of a sudden, the guy that you thought he was going to be, but gave up on him too early, you see him doing that. 100% you regret that. Big Ox, the example that I always give, I'm not going to build this chick up so I can give her to somebody else. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that.
I'm not going to teach her. I'm not going to teach her all these different little fly things. Just put her on different restaurants and help her out. And she going to take it to this brother.
Then give her to somebody else. No, I'm not doing that. No, we're not breaking up because you and me got in a fight or we got into 1 or 2 fights. No, let's figure this out. Let's figure it out.
I done took you to museums, took you to the opera. You don't even know nothing about that.
And not only do you not know nothing about that, there's more.
Right.
There's much more than just what I showed you.
Right.
There's more that I'm gonna show you. This ain't the end of it. It's not like I just got you here and this is it. No, there's much more. And I'm not just gonna build you up just to this. And I'm gonna give it to this dude. No, get better. This ain't good enough. Get better.
Chill. I mean, I like the example from sending them to Memphis, but I think you took it a little far right there. We can't have Bam and Triple J running around together. I don't think we've seen a defensive front court like that since the Pistons. So,
break them up.
Adam Silver got to do something about that. No, we can't have that. No what you call it? Put the kibosh on that?
We definitely would have put the kibosh on that. Like, nah, we ain't doing that. Y'all gotta get another squad in the fold, because you put them two together, it's gonna be trouble. So break them up.
Right. So we got a super chat from Alan Nar. Of course, he starts to say super chat the same way he always does. L Dub. Also, can we talk about how different Wemby is? He's improving at an alarming rate. Yo, Alan Nar, lay off my man Dub.
Well, is it alarming if you look at his skill set, right? If you look at his skill set, and not only his skill set, his feel for the game. It's like watching a track star who he doesn't really know. He doesn't have the form, but man, he fast as hell. He just faster than everybody. Wait till I actually teach this dude how to run. Once I teach this dude how to run, y'all dudes ain't gonna be. You won't have a chance once I teach this guy how to run, because he's just running right now. He doesn't really know how to run, and that's kind of what's going on with Wemby right now. If you watch him defensively, him standing around the basket, he's blocking shots off a reaction. He's rebounding, which I think he's going to be better at. He's rebounding because I'm bigger than a lot of you guys. He's blocking shots and recovering because I do have a feel for the game. I do know somewhat of what I'm doing, but I don't really know the pro game yet. Wait till I actually learn this. I said this to you before, Big Ox. That's the future of the NBA right there. When you look at Victor Wembanyama in the next 10, 15 years, that's what the NBA is going to look like. It's going to be a bunch of 6'10" to 7'3" Victor Wembanyama's running around with that skill set. And if you 6'10", if you 7'3", if you can't do that, you're not going to be in the league, because there's not going to be any room for you. I'm watching him close out last night. I'm watching him close out on the perimeter last night. For a guy that age, a guy that size, to have that kind of feel, that tells me that I just know what I'm doing from this aspect. I'm really not sure what I'm really doing, but I kind of know what I'm doing as a basketball player because I'm out here. His ability to close out and get the right hand up, which makes sense. A lot of people don't know that when you're closing out on the right hander to get the left hand up. He's doing that. When you're closing out on the left hander to get the right hand up, he's doing that. So the fundamentals, he knows how to block shots without fouling a lot of times. So with him doing that, wait till he learns how to keep the ball in bounds like David Robinson did. Wait till he learns how to rebound in traffic and get the ball out quicker. Wait till he learns how to do these sort of things. He's going to be impossible. I think that, one, he's going to be the best defensive player in the game. And two, I think he's going to be the best player in the game. And I've said it already. I honestly believe that he's the future of the NBA. I honestly believe that.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that. He's scary. Back to you know what? We'll talk about this super chat real quick, just because we were talking about the Heat from Hydro Wilson. He wants to know, would you have pushed the Herro-Klay trade?
No, I would not have. Because of the value of. I would have done it if you're Golden State, I think you get more value because you got a younger guy who you basically got Jordan Poole. It's almost like you got Jordan Poole back, except less of a problem. But if I'm Miami, no, I'm not doing that. And the reason why I'm not doing that is because the best years of Tyler Herro, I'm not giving them to Golden State. No, you got the best years of Klay. I'm not giving. Big Ox, we just talked about it. I'm not handing this chick over to you after I done just built her up. No, I'm not doing that. There's no reason for me to do that. None whatsoever. So because of that, I would not have pushed for that if I was the Miami Heat. No way. No way.
Right. But back to some of the games last night. Chilton, how do the Sixers pull off a victory against the Cavs? How does that happen?
No Donovan Mitchell. That's the problem. He was out of the lineup. He's been out of the lineup the last couple of games. Yeah, he's been sick.
Okay, I thought he was back. Okay, well, I understand that.
He's been out of the lineup. When you take your leading scorer and assist man out the lineup, things are going to be a little bit different. But since you brought up the Cavs, Big Ox, I am concerned about Evan Mobley. I don't like where his progression is offensively, and they need him to be better. And he's not been better. His mid-range is not there. Not only is his mid-range not there, he's beefed up and he's gotten stronger. I do like that about him. And I like the fact of how he protects the rim. I like the fact of how he rebounds. Offensively, we're in year 3. That mid-range jump shot, it should be better. His hands around the rim, his hands around the basket, that should be better, and it's not. I'm not expecting you to be an all-NBA performer in year 3. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is that I feel like this guy, he has the potential to be that, and it's not there. And I feel like Cleveland isn't challenging him offensively enough to get better. And I think that's going to be a problem moving forward in the playoffs because they're going to need him to score, particularly on the perimeter, because that opens up a lot more of their offense. For Donovan Mitchell, for Jared Allen, that opens up a lot more of their offense when he's doing that. And he hasn't been doing that. He doesn't knock down the mid-range shot. He doesn't play well in transition. He does look like whenever he gets the basketball that he's looking to get off the ball. He's not really looking for his own offense, which is kind of surprising to me because he can handle it. He's one of the few guys. He's one of the few guys that I think can handle it. And I think that I think that if they challenged him more offensively and made him improve more offensively and involved him more in the offense, because that's what they did in Miami. So in addition, Big Ox, to challenging Bam, they involved him more in the offense. So I can't challenge you to get better and then not involve you. I can't do that. So with Cleveland, if you're going to challenge Evan Mobley to get better offensively, which I think that they should, they got to involve him more in the offense. Got to run stuff. They got to run more things for him. Run more pick and pop, right? Run more pick and dive to get him involved in the offense more. Because where I see him at right now, I don't like it. I don't.
What's the chances Coach Bickerstaff goes another route and considers they're already small with Darius and Donovan up top already anyway. What's the chances that Coach Bickerstaff says, you know what, forget it, I'm gonna go small, I'm gonna put a shooter in there at the 4, and I'm gonna bring Evan Mobley as a backup center now?
I don't think that there's a high chance of that, but they do run those lineups throughout the game where they'll have Donovan Mitchell at the 1. They'll have Garland at the 1, Mitch at the 2. They'll have Karis LeVert at the 3. They'll have Okoro at the 4 and Jared Allen at the 5. They'll run lineups like that. And Okoro, who was another one who I talked about in terms of getting better, he's actually gotten better. That jump shot has gotten better. He's been able to stretch the defense and knock down the long ball. So when you got guys like that, that's getting better, that enhances who Evan Mobley should be. And that with that enhancing him, that means that he's got to get better. So you can run that lineup for a short period of time, but when you got Evan Mobley out there, the rim runner and the rim diver that he is, and around the basket, I don't think he's bad. I think he could be better, but he's still really good. So when you have those two guys in, it still works. I just don't see them. I don't think they're a championship team yet, but I don't see what happened last year. I don't see that happening this year where they get served in round 1. I don't.
Right.
Not like that. Not like that.
We obviously don't really need to speak too much on this game. I just want to point out something. Could Marvin Bagley be potentially having a resurgence in his career with the Wizards?
Yeah.
They got beat down last night, but that's expected.
They got served in Denver. They did. They got served. They did.
They played OKC. They got beat by
147. I'm sorry, not Denver.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Denver beat them a
OKC.
couple of nights ago. And I'm thinking about I think Oklahoma City beat them like 147 to like 107, something like that. They served them really good. Now, my buddy talked to me about Marvin Bagley years ago. He was big on Marvin Bagley. He was huge on him. Like,
a lot of us
you need to start paying attention to Marvin Bagley. That's what you need to start paying attention to. So I watched him a couple of times, and I wasn't blown away. I was impressed, but I wasn't like wow, yo, this kid can play. I did expect him to be more than what he was when he first got to the league. Injuries, and I think what they were doing in injuries and what they were doing in Sacramento kind of screwed him up.
Yeah,
I do think that was the problem.
Sure, he was. If you ask me, he was the best player in the country coming out of Duke that year. He was better than Jaren Jackson. I think he was better than DeAndre Ayton. I think he was better than Trae Young. I think he was the best player in the coming out of college. Luka wasn't coming out of college, so But as far as the NC2A goes, I think Marvin Bagley was the best player in the country. Yeah, like you said, we definitely ruined him. I think he came into the league with Luke Walton on the bench, I believe. But hey, that's how it happens sometimes. Can't got to take your crookeds with your straights. The Suns lose to the Rockets.
To be honest with you, Big Ox, I didn't watch the Houston Phoenix game last night.
Okay.
So I can't talk to you too much about it, but I will say what I've said in the past about Phoenix. They still need a lead guard, man. I watched them against Dallas a couple of nights ago. They still need a guy who controls the pace of the game, and they don't have that. And the fact that Bradley Beal is a guy that I don't think that they can depend on. When he's healthy, they actually look good. This kind of reminds me of, when I think about it, this kind of reminds me of what was going on in Brooklyn with Irv, Harden, and KD, where we couldn't really get all three of these guys on the floor at the same time for an extended period of time. Like we get James, we get KD, we get Harden, we get KD, and we get Irv on the floor for 5 games, then one of them would go out. Then we would get them on the floor for another 10 games, and then one of them would go out. Then we would get them on the floor, and then one of them would be gone for an extended period of time. That's kind of what's going on in Phoenix. So the feel that I have for this team would be much better if they had a consistent lead guard, a guy that not like John Stockton, because me and you have already had this conversation. I'm coming around, yo. I know Stockton is gone. I know Chris Paul. I know Isaiah Thomas. I know that them dudes are gone, and I accept that. I know that the game is more of a scoring guard at the lead guard spot. I do know that. However, the lead guard does control the pace of the game. The lead guard does pass the ball at a high rate. He does do those things 100%. Luka does that. Now, Luka might hold on to the ball a little bit more than I like, but Luka does control the pace of the game a lot of times. He'll speed the game up. He'll slow the game down. When the game gets a little helter-skelter, he'll get these guys back under control. Phoenix doesn't have that. And because Phoenix doesn't have that, you can't just go bucket for bucket with teams. That's not going to happen. I don't think so.
Yeah, definitely. I can see that. Let me see. So got through most of the games. We could talk. The Lakers had a close one with the Spurs. Did you check any of that out? Braun dropped 30.
I saw a little bit of it. I'm not really watching much of the Lakers these days. And the reason why I'm not watching much of the Lakers these days, because Big Ox, you and me have had this conversation. It's the girl that you keep fighting with, and we fighting about the same thing. Like we keep going over the same every day. We're fighting about the same thing. It's not like we're having an argument about something different, or we're having a discussion about something different. Every day it's the same thing over and over again. There's nothing consistent with the Lakers. Well, they're the best. They're one of the best passing teams in the league. They also turn the ball over at a high rate. They also do that. Anthony Davis is one of the best defensive players in the game. Yeah, but they don't play defense consistently as a unit, considering the defensive players that they have. They don't play defense consistently as a unit. They should be a better defensive team. Their rotations aren't consistent. I feel like it's the same thing over and over with this team. And watching them last night against San Antonio, for the little bit that I watched, it's obvious that Wemby is the franchise player on that team, and they're building that unit around him. They are. They're building that unit around him. In the process of them building that unit around him, Sochan is actually going to move to being more of a dirty work wing guy, more of a D&3 guy. I don't think that he's going to be a primary ball handler. I think they're going to get a ball handler for Wemby. And I like Vassell. I do like Vassell, but I do think that they got to show up that front line with Wemby. Wemby is the kind of player where if you get the right pieces around him, we could turn this thing around in a year, where we could go from being right where we are right now at the bottom of the West to being a legit playoff team. That could happen.
Sure, Tom. I've been talking to my people. I've told my brother already, like, somebody's about to come play with Victor Wembanyama. Like even if they don't, I know San Antonio hasn't always been a great free agency destination, but they've also never had Victor Wembanyama. So things change. Like things change. And I can see it. And on top of that, the front office over there, they're not going to stand around and wait year after year for Victor Wembanyama. They're going to get somebody. Trae Young coming soon.
Right. And I love Trae. Of all the guys,
Trae Young in San Antonio.
Of all the guys, Big Ox, that I love in San Antonio, I love Trae Young in San Antonio with Victor. You put
Trae Young, because Trae Young will find Victor Wembanyama, even though he's not hard to find. I don't understand why he's having any issue. But the
distributor that Trae Young is, we might be talking about something way different with Trae Young if he's running around with Victor Wembanyama. We might be talking about him way different because it's going to look different, right? He may still be a 9 to 12 assist a game guy, but it's going to look way different with him. Way different running with Wemby. And Wemby's going to make up for a lot of his mistakes too defensively. But he's going to make up for that.
Let's say hypothetically the Spurs were able to pull off something like we'll get Trae Young on the squad. We get Trae Young over there. We sign Jonas Valanciunas in the offseason to come, bully in the paint. If they could do those simple two moves right there, put them all the way in the game. If you ask me, they're all the way in the game, just with two simple moves like that. I don't know if they win a championship like that yet. I don't know everybody that's available. I don't know what their money looks like. I don't know how many draft picks they got to move around. I don't know all that, but I'm saying I think they could get Trae Young and Jonas Valanciunas on that team, and if they did that.
Well, Valanciunas comes off the books in New Orleans after this year. So
unrestricted.
He's a free agent. So they may very well, San Antonio may very well be targeting him. I think the guy that they're paying is Vassell. I think they paid him. I think they extended him. Vic's still in his Rook deal, so they don't have to pay him yet. So we still got 2 more years with him. And Sochan, if
Keldon got a solid contract.
Yes, Keldon did, and I think Sochan, I think he's still on his Rook deal, if I'm not mistaken. If he's not, he's at the end of it. But I think he still is on his Rook deal. With that being said, Big Ox, this unit, this San Antonio unit, they have the potential just with Vic alone to get turned around in a year where they're really competitive and they are in the playoff race. And a guy like Trae Young, the distributor that he is, the long ball shooter that he is, even though he may be deficient as a defender. And yes, he takes some questionable shots that throws his unit off. I think that could be remedied running with Wemby because he never played with anybody like that. He never played with a guy like that, and I think that would enhance his game.
You seen how John Collins was looking in that run. Collins. So imagine how he'll look with Victor Wembanyama. I like John Collins. Don't get me wrong, but he's no Vic. So
no, he's not. No, he is not.
We do got some people in the back that have been waiting for a little while. I'm gonna bring them up. I got y'all. Give me a couple seconds. I got to get to these super chats. I can't be an L host. Let me take care of business. Also, who's that back there? Kazmir. If you could flash your camera on real quick. I've never seen you up here before. I need your flash real quick. Okay, for sure. I got you, bro. You good? All right. Let me see. We got Sports PSP. Happy Saturday, y'all. If AI played today's game, where would he rank? Where would you rank him with the current players? Would he be top 5 in today's game, Chatel?
I think he'd be a top 10 player if he played today. I think we'd be having a conversation. Like we talk about Donovan Mitchell, like we talk about Devin Booker, we'd be talking about Allen Iverson like that. That's how we'd be talking about him.
Are those guys on AI's level, Chatel? Donovan and Devin?
In today's game, in today's game, I think that we would be talking about them like him. But I think Allen Iverson would be a top 10 player in today's game. I do.
Okay.
Because he's not really, don't get me wrong, he's not super efficient. So because the game is more wide open, he'll be able to score a little bit more in transition. His stop and pop game, it was really good. I think where he would thrive is because the game is so wide open. It wasn't as wide open as it was back. It wasn't as wide open back then as it is today. You got big men who do play on the block still, but the lane is a little bit more open. So Allen being the one-on-one player that he is and the way he can get to the rim, not just where he can get to the rim, his stop and pop game, I think that would make him one of the most lethal scorers in the game. So what you seeing like Shea doing, what you see like Luka doing, I think you'd be seeing Allen Iverson doing something like that.
Okay, for sure. Sports PSP had one more super chat. Said, which fan base is worse, Cowboys or Lakers?
It's not close, to be quite honest with you, Sports. It's the Cowboys, and it's not even close. It's bad of a fan base. The Lakers are just spoiled. There's a difference between a bad kid and a spoiled kid. Those two things are not the same. The Lakers are just a spoiled, rotten kid, stomping your feet and crying. That's who the Lakers are. They're that kid.
Yeah.
Cowboys, yes, that's who they are. The Cowboys, they're the worst. They're the worst kid. They're the kid that's okay. I'm going to do my homework. They don't do it, and then when we get to school, this one always got an excuse for what happened to my homework. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it tomorrow, and never ever do it. But we'll tell you, well, I did my homework last week. I did my homework a week ago. I did my homework 2 weeks ago. Doesn't that count? And I got A's on my homework a couple of weeks ago. So the fact that I haven't done my homework in a couple of weeks, that shouldn't matter. The Cowboy fans are 100% the worst. They're the worst fan base in sports, without a doubt.
Yeah, and as much as I hate Lakers fans, I got to agree with you. It's the Cowboys for sure.
Terrible.
Man, I can't stand a Laker fan. Okay, let me see. We got Cowboy Bob in the back. Let's get to him real quick.
Mm-hmm. Salute.
What up, Cowboy?
What up?
How y'all guys doing this morning?
What's up, brother?
Good.
Hey, real quick, I just wanted to say about Iverson. Remember when Iverson was traded from the 76ers? I mean, he went to the Nuggets. Yep. A lot of the calls that they were calling carries and stuff like that, and the walks and the Euro step that he was doing would be legit now. So he would be even better, plus going to the line a lot more. So I agree with you on the top 10.
Yeah, I definitely think that.
But I wanted to ask you about my coach, because you were talking about developing players.
Yep.
Tibbs has a tendency to give players that he thinks has a chance to shine the time. For example, people say that he leaves Brunson in too long, too many minutes, Randall in too long with a lead, but he trusts those guys. Now, if you look at Precious Achiuwa, I'm going to compare Precious and Grimes. If you look at how he gave Grimes the whole beginning of the season to try to develop, and he lost his starting spot to Dante. Right. But then you see a guy like Precious, who's been bounced around for previous teams, comes to us and is averaging a double-double, is playing two positions, and him and OG, I want to see that. Like, he came out of nowhere. But do we actually give credit to Tibbs because he's allowing him to play due to injuries with Randall, due to injuries with Mitchells, or are we actually going to give credit to the player?
Right. Well, think about this. I could be developing a player who's my type of player, but I could also be giving somebody a chance, but not really giving them a chance. So Grimes, for example, just because I'm on the floor does not mean that I'm getting a chance. I'm on the floor, and every time I shoot the ball, I'm doing this. Every time I turn the basketball over, I'm doing this because I'm worried that I'm going to get yanked because I'm not really his type of guy. Meanwhile, Precious Achiuwa, if you look at his game, that's exactly who he is. He's a Tibbs guy. He's a dirty work guy. He's a glass cleaner. He's diving on the floor for loose balls. He's hard-nosed. And the fact that Julius Randle is out the lineup, that enhances him because he gets to play more. Tibbs gets to watch him more. And what do I want to watch more? Do I want to see more of my type of guy or a guy who's on the floor who I feel like I have to play him off the strength that he's here and I don't have another two guard who can score it like this. But this guy's really not my type of guy. I think that's where Tibbs is with Grimes.
I give Tibbs credit because when you look at the regular season and what I'm giving him credit for this year is the adjustments he's made due to injuries. We now see what Precious Achiuwa is giving us as a backup to Randall. So for me, I'm looking at Tibbs like, yo, you're doing the right thing. But what I don't understand is how the fan base is coming at people saying Tibbs don't make the right rotations. He don't make the right adjustments. He's doing this. One, it's due to injury. And two, the rotations he's doing now with the small ball where we played Hart and three guards. All these little rotations with Bose coming in as a specialist, which I've said earlier, he can hit 3 6-pointers in a row. This is what I'm talking about where this is a time because of injury, Knicks fans need to just relax and hold the line. Let these bench players get as much time and develop because when playoff time comes, we need bodies. You're going to be playing one guy, one team for 7 games, night in and night out. You're going to need bodies. And plus the first 2 games are away or home. So then you got to look at the diversity. Right now we're playing a 9-man rotation. OG, Randall, and Mitchell comes back. That's 12. I think we're good. But the problem is that the breakdown of how the team is going to share the ball. We have 5 shooters shooting 40%. at 3-point range. We have tons of scoring coming off of our bench. Look at Hart, even Hart stepping up. Like, this is dangerous, but I just want to know, when do we give Tibbs the credit or the players the credit?
It's a lot easier to develop guys, again, who are your guys. And if you look at Tibbs's crew, the majority of these guys, Hart, DiVincenzo, Precious Achura, Julius Randle, and Brunson, these are Tibbs's guys. These are the kind of guys that Tibbs is into. He likes those dirty work guys. He likes those forgotten guys, those underdog type of guys that are going to go hard, that's going to give you everything. So I think that Tibbs develops these guys to the skill set that he wants. And a guy that's coming in who could shoot the basketball and who could score it, but is also a him guy, there's also a him type of guy, he'll lean toward that guy as opposed to a guy who could score it, but he's not really my type of guy. And that's why Brunson, DiVincenzo, Hart, Precious Achua, Julius Randle, Hart, I think I already said Hart. That's why those guys have been what they are for Tibbs. And Tibbs will develop. He will. It's just got to be his type of guy.
Thanks. I just got one more thing. Remember what I told you about Wemby, 25, 11, and 3? How's that looking? Imagine him with Trey. Over. But Bob, and thank you again, Chill. You guys have a good one.
Brother.
Go New York, go New York, go.
All right, Cowboy. Appreciate you.
All right, be easy, brother. No doubt. I'm worried, Big Ox, about that Knicks squad. Julius Randle, they told us that he would be reevaluated in 2 to 3 weeks. They ain't say he was coming back. So he's been back in the lab. 2
to 3 weeks from when the injury
when it happened. Right. So we're around that time. He's back in the lab. He's been working, and we don't know what it's going to look like when he gets on the floor and when he starts to get bumped, because you know who Julius Randle is. Julius Randle he's a meat and potatoes kind of player. He's a rough, tough, rugged type of player. So for him to play like that, when he gets banged, when he gets hit, how's that shoulder going to react? And is that thing going to require surgery? I don't know, because I do know this. I know if they lose him, they're not going far. They're not going far. I was really big. I'm really big on what Julius Randle is going to bring to this crew this year. I'm really big on that. And if he's not available at all, I think that sinks them. Right.
Yeah, I mean, that'd be rough. That'd be rough without Julius. Now I'm of the mindset, like, sometimes when your top guys go out, it actually helps in the end of the season, the meat and potatoes of the season, if you will, playoffs and stuff like that too. Give these guys a chance to get some good minutes. That way, when we need them in Game 5, we need them in Game 6 to step up, they'll be ready. So if Julius is out for maybe another, short time, maybe miss 5-6 more games max, I think they'll be okay. Now, like you said, though, I agree with you. If it's a drawn out and he doesn't come back anytime soon, it might be ugly for New York.
Might be.
But yeah, we got Casimir in the back. Let's see what my man got to talk about. What's up, Casimir?
What up?
Jersey in the building, but you know what I'm
saying? In fact, what part?
I'm from Patterson, North Jersey.
Word. I got one of my best friends from Patterson. My boy Wadui with the Kennedy.
Oh wow, I went to Kennedy too.
Word.
But I got a question, OG. I had listened to the panel the other day, and I'm like, it was something you said about Bill Russell and how if certain awards existed, like, how would we talk about Bill Russell? And I always thought, like, do you think that the NBA should, like, go back and, like, review older seasons and reward those players for the stuff that they missed out on because it wasn't an award at the time?
This isn't pay, brother. We don't it's not retroactive. We can't pay you for what we didn't pay you back then. Nah, that's not the way that works. As much as I would like to, because if we doing that, I mean, like, we got to pay Jordan. We got to pay Jordan what we really owe him, right? We got to pay Scotty what we really owe him. So we can't do that.
If they're doing that, man, we might need to get some reparations.
For real, yo. For real. So unfortunately, we can't. But seeing it and seeing what those guys were doing, we know that they were playing at that level. We know that for a fact. Don't get me wrong. Putting the accolade on it stamps it, and it confirms how good this guy was. But I know for a fact that Bill Russell was playing at that level. I know for a fact that Chamberlain was playing at that level, and Jabbar was playing at that level, right? So I don't think that I don't think that we'll be able to do something like that. But with that also being said, I don't think it lessens those guys because I know that they played at that level at that time.
Okay. All right. My other question was, and I ain't gonna lie, I thought this was kind of unanimous. You know what I'm saying? Until I heard you say this, but you said on the panel that the 1988 dunk contest was better than the 2016 dunk contest.
Yeah, I did think.
I can't agree with that one, OG. I don't know about that.
Yeah. Even though, don't get me wrong, the 2016 dunk contest, man, this dude doing windmills from right next to the free throw line off the one leg. I'm like, what the hell is that? Right? I haven't seen anything like that. Dude is jumping off one leg between his legs and throwing the ball in the hole. Yeah, I'm not tripping on that. It was wild. But when I say that the 88 dunk contest was better, because think about who Zach LaVine and who Aaron Gordon are. Like, imagine if Zach LaVine was an all-league performer. Like, he was a star in the game. The star power that he would have brought. Imagine if Aaron Gordon, the star power that he would have brought. Jordan and Dominique, this was what we had wanted to see for years. One, the two of the best players in the game. Not only two of the best players in the game, but two of the high flyers in the game. And with these two, and it was in Chicago, and it came down to these two dudes in a dunk off, and Jordan jumping from the free throw line. Dominique Wilkins at that time doing two-hand windmills. I actually went out and practiced that. Can you do a two-hand windmill? Is that really legit? I didn't even know you could do that. Like, I know you can do it one, like you can do it with two hands. What the hell? So I went out and practiced that, and turns out you can do it. But I feel like from a star power aspect, I don't think it gets bigger than that. I think that was what made the dunk contest. Now everybody wanted to get in it because of that right there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, see, when you look at it from that perspective, I can understand what you're saying, Ben. I thought we was talking like just strictly like the dunks. Like Aaron Gordon still, to me, to this day, was completely robbed. He should have a dunk contest, at least one.
He should have won the one. And I don't know about against Zach LaVine. He definitely should have won the one in 20. The one in 20, he should have won that. He should have beat Derrick Jones.
D-Wade robbed him.
Yes, he did.
I don't know how you jump over Taco Fall and don't win the dunk contest, but
that was crazy. That was wild. Yes, sir.
Aaron Gordon
Taco was nuts.
It's Taco like 8 feet tall, something goofy like that.
7'5".
Basically.
Tallest player we've seen in the league since Yao Ming, and you don't get a 50 for that. That's
he
crazy.
Cleared him. Yeah, wow.
Mars must have been being the judge on that dunk contest.
No, but Aaron Gordon literally has like that dunk he did over the mascot sitting in midair. That's literally the greatest dunk I've ever seen in the dunk contest. Still to this day, he got robbed, so now he won't ever do it again. Oh my God, bro.
The free throw line, Zach LaVine jumping from the free throw line between his legs. I was floored when I seen that. I was like, wait a minute, yo, what's happening right now? Am I in the Matrix? What is going on? I'm seeing dudes jump from the free throw line and put the ball between their legs. Look like something like you do in video games, for real.
I think if he would have did it one more year, OG, he would have pulled out the 360 from the free throw line. There's videos of him practicing it, and I've seen it. He's done it. He's literally dunked it before. So I
didn't know that was humanly possible. I didn't know that was humanly possible to jump from the free throw line and do a 360. Like I've seen Terrence Stansbury jump from the dotted line and do a 360 off the one leg. I did see Terrence Stansbury do that. That was dope that he did that. But to jump from the free throw line off the one leg and do a 360. And by the way, this is after he tore his knee up, ain't it?
Insanity. Yeah, exactly. Insanity.
He tore his knee up. Give me a break, man. What are we doing? What's happening?
Have a good rest of y'all show. And,
all right, brother.
Tell Ron to stop being a crook. Give Big Ox his sweater, man.
Hey, stop playing, man. What's the thing? Don't get me started.
Hey, Casimir, I know it's early afternoon, late morning, Saturday. I hear that Mary J in the background. It must be cleaning day. I know the vibes.
My dude's making the oxtails in the back and everything right now.
Oh yeah. I know
that's what we do in Jersey on a Saturday. That's what we do in Jersey on a Saturday. Yeah.
I know when it's Saturday around 8:39, I hear some Mary J in the house. I'm like, Ma, come on. Not today.
Yeah.
Not today.
Uh-huh.
But all right, fam, enjoy yourself.
Yes, sir.
You too, man. You too.
All right. Yeah.
Absolutely, man. It's Saturday. Windows open, Mary J blasting, mom's in here cleaning up the house. Yep, cooking.
Right. Eli, no Ron slander. No, definitely Ron slander. But
100%.
speaking of that, though, y'all see down there, playerschoicemerch.com. Sorry about that. I'm good. Okay. playerschoicemerch.com. Y'all go ahead and check that out. Grab some PC merch. Grab some for the panel, open gym. Go check it out, man. Check it out. It's a lot of stuff for everybody. Get something for you, your brother, your sister, mom, dad, girlfriend, boyfriend, anybody, man. Check them out. Check it out. We got tons of stuff on there. Before we do get to the next segment, though, my man Sports PSP just popped up in the back. What's going on?
What's up, fellas? How y'all doing?
What up?
Chill, man. First of all, I'm sorry about your 49ers, man, about in the Super Bowl. I know it's tough for you, but don't worry.
We'll be back.
You'll be back. Look, man, there's no shame losing to Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. Hey, what more can you say? I wanted to talk to you about the All-Star weekend. And I thought about it, and I'll probably discuss it later tonight. Do you think they should take away the dunk contest?
No, I don't think so. The dunk contest, it might not be what it was in 2020. It might not be what it was in 2016, but it's still a major highlight of All-Star Weekend. And All-Star Weekend is still good. I think one of the major problems with All-Star Weekend is the All-Star game. I think that's the biggest
that was
problem.
awful.
I think that has to improve. The other stuff, I don't think so. No.
Yeah. I thought outside of the dunk contest and the All-Star game, it was good. I mean, seeing Steph and Sabrina and Ox, I want to hear your standpoint on this as well, because I know you love yourself some women's basketball. Do you think they should try to incorporate like more one-on-one, two-on-two NBA, WNBA players, different things like that? Or
I like the shooting I would like it for shooting contests, skill competition, stuff like that. I think that's dope. When you add the physicality into the game, and it's kind of like, well, what are we really doing it for? But yeah, I like the idea. I like that with Steph and Sabrina. That was dope to me. I felt like that was disrespectful to Dame Lillard, honestly. Tell you the truth. Why Steph get to bypass this 3-point contest and he get to represent us? Dame over here like, I'm back-to-back winner. Let me shoot with her.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking like that.
You got to remember too. Steph called her out. It wasn't like she called him out. Steph called her out.
Okay.
So it wasn't something that the NBA just set up and they just.
So that gave Sabrina motivation.
Yeah, Steph was the one who called her out. He did that about a month ago. He said that he said it to Pods that during All-Star Weekend we're gonna settle this, and it wasn't him just getting in the 3-point contest. It was him and her, and the NBA set it up after he called her out. It wasn't
W Steph.
Yeah,
I really like that out of Steph because he didn't have to do that. You know what I'm saying? Because he respects her game, respects her shooting ability. Where some people are still a little behind the eight ball, still kind of slower. Yeah, you know what I'm saying. So I'm happy he did that. Of course, he like, yo, I'm not gonna let you win or nothing like that. Like, I'm Steph Curry. I'm the best shooter walking.
Let's settle this.
Let's settle it.
But that's the great thing about with sports. I mean, competition. I mean, it's a great way for us as the fans to be entertained and stuff. And I definitely think it was great, especially to have the greatest shooter ever in Steph Curry to go up against the best shooter in the WNBA and Sabrina. I think it definitely sells.
I gotta talk really quickly.
Go ahead.
What man. It also did, though, it wasn't a gimmick.
No, it wasn't.
That's the thing that I think is the most important. Big Ox, you talk a lot about women's basketball, and there are some people who aren't keen on women's basketball because they still look at it like it's a gimmick. Like, a lot of these women can't play, a lot of these women can't shoot. And Sabrina, for her to go out there against the best, like, this wasn't a gimmick. I held my own against the best. I had him sweating over there. That shows that women's basketball is the real deal.
From NBA range.
Right. I did what he did. I just used my ball. That was all. I just used my ball.
And I think that's something that they should do moving forward. I think that's what also help out. I got to talk about Anthony Edwards, man. I think the kid is legit. I mean, he's definitely a top 15 player. I think he can definitely be in the conversation for top 10. Would you say, Chill, and you, Bob, under the age of 25, he's one of the players you would build a franchise with, or is there someone else that you would consider, like Sengun from the Rockets, or anyone else like Victor or Paulo?
Vic 100%. I'm building my unit around Vic. We could start and stop the conversation with that right there. But I mean, anybody who knows me knows I talk about Anthony Edwards. I think he's going to be the league MVP at some point. I think he's going to be in the conversation as the best player in the game. I 100% believe you can build your unit around him. He's become now the best player on that team. Rudy, I think, may be the most valuable in terms of what he does defensively and
rebounding.
How he rebounds. I think that's invaluable. But as far as an offensive player and what he does, how charismatic he is, how athletic he is, his game, how it's been from 2020 till today, and how much better he's gotten, and how dedicated he is to getting even better. 100% you could build your unit. He's the consummate franchise player. The biggest problem that I have with guys like Anthony Edwards is the same problem that I have with guys like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander or not Shai Gilgeous, I'm not Shai, but young guys where you see them and they're awesome early, so you expect them to be all-time great awesome. It's like he's still developing. Let's hold the phone on him being this when he's on his way to being that. He's not there yet. He's getting there though. He's not there yet. And the fact that a lot of people jump the gun when they see these guys doing that, I think that it's a disservice to the development of these guys.
Absolutely, no question about that. Fellas, y'all enjoy the rest of y'all day. I'm definitely going to be chilling in the streets in Jersey, probably listen to some Mary J or probably listen to some Luther Vandross. Y'all enjoy the rest of y'all weekend.
Be easy. Yes, sir. Be easy. Yeah, man, I dig Anthony Edwards 100%. I think he's a franchise player. I think that I could build my unit around him.
So he says to Stephen A. Smith, he's the better player between him, Luka, and SGA. I mean, I expect that's what you're supposed to say. But I mean, how you feel about that?
Big Ox, if you line, well, this goes back to I remember Havoc said this, and I second it. When you think about rap, the best rappers in the game, the reason why they're the best rappers in the game, because they think they're the best. Yo, this dude ain't better than me. And to see Jason Tatum say, I'm the best player in the game, I don't think I would have heard him say that 2 years ago. I don't think I would have heard him say that a year ago. To hear him say that, to hear Anthony Edwards really believes he's the best player in the game. Yeah. Jimmy Butler, when he steps on the floor, he is convinced, I don't care who is out here. It ain't one of you dudes that can see me, not one of y'all that's on my level. That's where the confidence comes in. So when you're talking about guys, now I'm not gonna embellish like Kendrick Perkins did when he said that Anthony Edwards is the 88-89 Jordan. Go do your homework on 88-89 Jordan while you're running your mouth when you talk about Air Jordan, right? That was when he still had hair and they called him Air Jordan. Don't get me wrong. I think that Anthony Edwards is fantastic. 88-89 Jordan, I think, was better than 87-88 Jordan. You know, the one that won the league MVP and won the defensive player of the year? I think 88-89 Jordan was better than him. So to say that Anthony Edwards is 88-89 Jordan, go do your homework on MJ. We're talking about a dude, I think he was 33, 8-8 that year. Not only 33, 8-8 that year, he averaged around the same amount of steals. I think he shot the highest field goal percentage of his career that year. He never averaged that many rebounds or assists that year. And in addition to that, he played the lead guard. So when you're talking about the 88-89 Jordan, that might be I thought he was better in 88-89 than he was in 87-88.
Yeah.
So let's chill out on Anthony Edwards being 88-89 Jordan.
I've heard some crazy things. I've heard some crazy things about Ed Showtime. You heard when Context was up here last week, said he was going to be the fourth best shooting guard ever. So
that's the thing, Big Ox. When we see these guys develop, we want to jump the gun and he's going to be this, he's going to be that. I project too, sure. I think he's going to be the league MVP at some point. I believe that. But with that being said, but I ain't sitting up here going, he might surpass D Wade on the two guard list. Hold on, let's chill out.
Yeah, and that was the thing that was the craziest part about it, Showtime, when he first said that to me, because I've heard that take before. But when he said that he'd be the fourth best shooting guard of all time, I thought he had D Wade at number 3. So it's come to find out that he doesn't have D Wade at number 3 lets me know that you're saying Anthony Edwards is about to be better than D Wade. And now I got it. I was already done with the conversations, but now I'm through with it. Like, well, I'm not doing this with you at all.
I'm good on you, B. You can chill out. You out right now.
So Showtime, what we've been doing, what we started on Wednesday, running down the remainder of the season for a team that's in the playoffs or in the play-in.
Right.
Out east, it's a little different. And with all due respect, Chilltown, I don't really want to start with Atlanta and Chicago. I want to go straight to the 8th seed and do Orlando. Orlando and Miami are both 31 and 25. Right. Indiana is 32 and 25, half a game ahead of them. The Sixers are 33 and 23, 2 games ahead. So I look at this more as Orlando and Miami trying to get out of the play-in and get into that 5 and 6 seed, while Indiana and Philly, even New York to some extent with the injuries they have, are trying to fight those 2 teams off. So, like I said, with all the respect to the Atlanta Hawks and the Chicago Bulls, I'm just going to go ahead and skip them, and let's get straight to the nitty-gritty of the 8th seed team trying to fight into the playoff. You good with that?
I'm good with it.
Okay, cool. So I got their schedule pulled up right here. Right now, like I said, they are 31 and 25. So what's that, 6? That's 56 games. So what's that? They got 26 games left, right?
Yep.
Okay. 26 games left. Let me get down. I'm not even. Okay, here we go. We're at February 24th. Today, they play the Detroit Pistons at 8 p.m. Eastern time.
In Detroit, they should beat them.
In
Detroit, they should beat them. Detroit hasn't been. I mean, I saw Cade the other night. I'm big on this kid Jalen Durham, but I haven't really watched Detroit much. I saw highlights of them late, but I watched the Cleveland game the other night, and I like what I'm seeing from France, and I like what I'm seeing from Paolo. And this kid Anthony Black is going to be a player. He 100% is going to be a player. So I'm going to take them over Detroit tonight. I am.
Okay, so they got Detroit tonight. They got Atlanta tomorrow.
Yeah, on a back-to-back. And with them having Atlanta on a back-to-back.
In Atlanta.
They should beat Atlanta, but I think Atlanta gets them.
Right.
I do think Atlanta gets them on a back-to-back.
You play in Detroit, then got to fly to Atlanta and play there in even an earlier game than tonight. So that's going to be a rough one. And then 2 days after that, they're back at home against Brooklyn.
I think they handle Brooklyn. Brooklyn has been on a slide. Brooklyn has been one of the worst teams going into the All-Star break, and since the All-Star break, I mean, I think that they handle Brooklyn.
Okay, and this is actually a 3-day homestand. So they got Brooklyn on the 27th, and they got Utah on the 29th.
Who I think they're gonna beat, but in a dogfight. I think they're gonna end up beating Utah in a dogfight because Utah showed me something a couple of nights ago against Charlotte. I mean, Charlotte isn't as bad as recent as I thought they've been, and Utah showed me something against the Warriors. Yes, I think that they beat Utah, but in a dogfight.
Okay. Well, then Detroit actually comes to them a few days after that.
Yep. And I think they smoked Detroit at home on a Sunday afternoon, on a Sunday evening. I think they smoked them at home.
Okay. And then they head up the way a little bit to Charlotte on the 5th.
They go into Charlotte, and I think that they get Charlotte, but I think that they get Charlotte in a close game. I think they handle them. I just like what Charlotte is doing right now. I do. I like what Charlotte is doing right now. I like the cohesiveness on that unit. I do.
This has to be the easiest part of their schedule right here, Chilltown. These games, 100%. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then they go. So after Charlotte, then they go to Washington and play the Wizards.
5, 6, 7, 8. 7 of the 8 games are against non-playoff teams.
Oh yeah. Orlando has a good looking chance right now. I'm looking at this. This is crazy.
7 of the 8 games against non-playoff teams.
So I'm assuming you got them beating Washington, or it's a back-to-back. It is a back-to-back,
but they should handle Washington. They don't really got to go that far from Charlotte to Washington. Yeah, they should handle Washington on Wednesday night. Yeah, they should get.
Okay, so 6, 7. So the 8th game of this stretch is actually against the New York Knicks. We're not sure will Julius Randle be back at this time, or what are we projecting right here?
I'm projecting that he'll be back in the lineup in the next 2 weeks. I'm projecting that. Yeah, I'm projecting he'll be back in the lineup, but I feel like that's what 7 of the last 8, and Orlando's going to be rolling coming into New York. Yeah, but New York is going to be rolling too.
This is at Madison Square,
and it is at Madison Square Garden on a Friday night. I think Orlando takes an L in this game. Like I said, I think they get Julius Randle back by this time. I think Achua is going to be back not Achua. I'm sorry. OG is going to be back in the lineup by this time. That's more defense that they didn't have. Brunson is healthy. This stretch of the season is when guys get healthy, and I think that they're going to get them.
Okay. After that, they go back home, play against Indiana Pacers. So the Pacers come down to Orlando.
I think Indy gets them at home. I think Indy comes in there and they beat them because Tyrese Halliburton, I think he plays the remainder of the games, barring any health issues. And Mathurin is coming off a great All-Star weekend where he's got a lot of confidence. Naismith has been ready. So I like this Indiana team. I think they go in there on Sunday, and I think they get them.
Okay. Brooklyn comes down to Orlando a few days after that.
3 days later, Big Ox, I think they smoked Brooklyn in their building. I don't think they beat Brooklyn. I think they smoked them in their building. Okay,
so chill town. Just to give you a kind of where we're going right now. So we got that was the Brooklyn game, May 13th. Okay, I'll mark that.
Yeah.
So you're saying that of these next 10 games, they win 7 of them. Looks very doable.
Was it 7 or did I say 8? Because I know I had them losing on the back-to-back to Atlanta. And who else do I have them losing to? I got them losing to the Knicks. Oh, and Indiana. Yes, that's 7. Indiana. Correct. Yeah, correct.
7.
Yes, I can see them running 7 of the next 10 games off. I can definitely see that. Yes.
Okay. And then so after that, they do one of those weird things. And this is weird to me how they do this, but I mean, they
always like this. I did.
Yeah, when they play at Scotiabank and then go back and play Toronto again at Kia.
They've been doing that. They've been doing that for a long time in the NBA. I mean, the Bulls did it with Washington. I mean, they've been doing that for a long time. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, so how do you see those 2 games going? Do they
I
split?
think that
take both of them or what?
Again, they got Brooklyn at home on that Wednesday. So with them having Brooklyn at home on that Wednesday, and they got a day in between. With them having that day in between, I think they go up to Toronto on that Friday. I think that they beat them, and then I think that they come back home, and I think that Toronto gives them a run for their money. But I still think that they beat Toronto on Sunday too.
Okay, so they take both of those. Okay.
Yep.
Sweeping that one. And then Charlotte comes down to Orlando.
Yep. I think they handle Charlotte. I do.
Okay. The Pelicans first. The Pelicans come to Orlando too on the 21st of March.
And I think that the Pelicans go in there and get them. I like what the Pelicans have been doing. I think that yesterday charged them up, and the fact that they got out toughed, I think that they're going to use that as motivation for the rest of the season. And a team like Orlando with France and Paolo, that front line, I think Zion is going to use that as fuel. And I think they go in there and they get them on that Thursday.
Okay. And then after that, 2 days after that, the Kings come down to Orlando.
Well, I do know that last year, De'Aaron Fox shut the lights off. He shut the lights off in that building. That was a great game.
Yeah.
And I think that they duplicate that. I think they come down there, and I think they beat them again.
Okay. After that, Golden State comes down, and this is another really long homestand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games at home. Yeah. So Golden State comes down on the 27th. They got 3 days in between that, so they got a good rest at home, and Golden State comes down.
Golden State comes down, and I already told you, Big Ox, Golden State schedule is very similar to Orlando's, which is very favorable. And I think Golden State comes into Orlando rolling. And with them coming into Orlando and rolling, I think they go in there and they get them.
Okay.
Yep.
The Clippers come down next.
The Clippers come down next, and I think they beat the Clippers. The Clippers are a team that I do think that they beat at home. Yeah.
Okay.
Because now now I feel like we're getting closer to the playoffs, and this Clipper team, for some reason, I want to get off that injury bug. I haven't seen it with the Clippers, and I don't want to see it. I don't.
Right.
I do not want to see it, but I feel like it's coming. I do.
Right.
I don't want to see it, and I'm hoping that it doesn't. I want Leonard to stay healthy. I want Paul George to stay healthy, but I feel like it's coming. I do.
Right. Well, they play the Clippers on the 29th. They got a back-to-back. Still, it's at home, back-to-back, but back-to-back nonetheless. And it's against a team that competes in Memphis.
Yeah, that's not a trap game. Now, if it was flipped around, Big Ox, where they played Memphis and then they played the Clippers, I would say because they might be looking past Memphis to play the Clippers. But after them playing the Clippers, and then the next night they got Memphis coming in, and we still at home. Yeah, I think that they handle. I think that they get some get back from Memphis because they lost to the Clippers.
Okay. Portland comes down 2 days after that as well.
I think they handle Portland.
They should. After that, they leave. They head to Smoothie King, go to New Orleans and play the Pelicans.
I think the Pelicans sweep that series. I think they beat them at home. I think they beat them in New Orleans, and I think they beat them. I think they beat them in Orlando, and I think they beat them in New Orleans. New Orleans is gonna be hell come playoff time, yo. They are.
Yes, they are. So after they deal with New Orleans at Smoothie King, they had they head to Charlotte and play them there.
And beat them too. I think that they handle Charlotte. This is at this point, Big Ox, where we are around the beginning of April. At this point of the season, what we're doing is we fighting for playoff position. So we can't give up any games. We can't give up any games. So the teams that we going up against that we have to beat or that we should beat, we got to beat them. So we can't give up games to Portland. We can't give up games to Memphis, right? We can't give up games to Charlotte. We can't give up games to any of these teams. Nah, we got to beat them. And I think they handle that.
Okay. Well, then on April 7th, they head back home and face the Chicago Bulls,
who's another team that's right around that 9-10. But at this point, I feel like Orlando could probably be in that 6, 7, 8 range too. So I think they beat the Bulls at home. I do. I think they beat the Bulls at home.
Take care of the Bulls. Then they head to Houston, go face Houston at the Toyota Center. How does that one play out?
I think that they beat Houston. I think they beat Houston off. I think that they beat Houston. I think they lose to Houston for the exact same reason, for the opposite reason of the Clippers in Memphis. I think they're going to be looking past Houston and looking at Milwaukee. And I think that's a trap game for them. Even though they're in a space, right? Even though they're in a space where they're fighting for a playoff position, they could be looking at Houston like, yo, we'll handle these dudes tonight. And I think they end up losing at Houston.
Okay. Well, so that's scary right there. Because if you got them losing at Houston, then mind you, it's a back-to-back, but they got to fly to Milwaukee. So you got to fly from Houston, fly to Milwaukee, and play them there. You said they beat them in Milwaukee.
And I think they go into Milwaukee and beat them dudes. I do.
Okay. 2 days later, they fly to Philly. Now, mind you, I think Joel might be back at this time. I know we've had some conflicting thoughts about that, but they got Philly on April 12th.
Right. Well, if Joel is back, I mean, how much is he back? It's not like he's coming back and they're throwing him in the lineup and he's playing 30 minutes. No, he's probably on a minutes restriction and they probably just feeling him out. And I don't really like what I'm seeing from Philly. To be honest with you, Big Ox, I'm looking at Philly, and Philly could be a play-in team. That's what they could very well be. I feel like they could drop from, I think they're fourth right now? Fourth or fifth? I think they could drop from the 5th spot to the 7th or 8th spot. I do think that they could do that. Yeah.
Well,
I very much think that could happen.
That would be leaving room for teams like Orlando to move up. So I can see that.
I do think that could happen.
So you got them beating Philly in Philly?
I do have them beating Philly in Philly.
Ooh, beating them at the Wells Fargo. Okay.
Yep.
Last game of the season, they're going right back home, finishing at home against the Milwaukee Bucks, who they just played 4 nights previous to this. So,
and Milwaukee's looking for some get back because Milwaukee didn't appreciate them coming in there and punching them in the face like they did. They thought they were going to be able to just handle them, and they didn't. And I think that Milwaukee is looking for some get back. I think Milwaukee gets them.
Okay.
Yep.
Well,
now the other half of that schedule is way tougher than the first half of it.
Oh yeah. The
other half of that schedule is way worse than the first half of that schedule. Yeah.
It is. But then, well, I mean, yeah, it is 100%. It is. But you still get a couple of games in there like Memphis, Portland, and Charlotte.
Right.
That you can still get a couple off. But yeah, these first 10 games of this last 26 for them is looks like a walk in the park.
It does, yo, and they should run. They should not run the table, but I think at minimum they'll win 7 of those 10 games.
Right.
At minimum they'll win 7 of those 10 games.
So this is the thing, Chilltown. We got them winning 17 of their last 26. That would make Orlando a 48-win team.
48 wins in the Eastern Conference. Let's see, 48 wins in the Eastern Conference. I think that's good enough. If I'm looking at this season, if I'm looking at last season, 48 wins. 48 wins is good enough for a 3 seed. I'm sorry, 47 wins is good enough for a 6 seed in the East. Because that was the Knicks. Yes,
Man, well,
that was the Knicks.
See, this is what happens when you start off a season. When you start a season off hot, the way they
seed.
did.
I'm sorry, Big Ox. 5 seed.
5. Jeez.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
that's
you start a season off as hot as Orlando started off this season.
Right.
I mean, it puts you in position. Like you can't coast throughout, but if you can start strong, finish strong,
right?
Hey, you can get in that 5th seed, 6th seed.
Yeah.
So 48 and 34 is what we're projecting from Orlando.
Yeah.
Hey,
that's what I'm looking at right now.
Y'all heard it here first, man. Y'all get ready for a 48 win season from the Orlando Magic this year.
Top 5 seed.
Yeah, that's fire. That's fire. I can't wait for Wednesday to see who we got next. Actually, we got another super chat in the midst of doing that. I wasn't able to look at the chat. Let me see. We got the Tribe 1. He says the Bucks have just as much of a chance as anyone else in the East to get to the finals. They have the best player too. And the anti-Bucks agenda is corny.
No, it ain't. It's not corny. It's true. Because it's not been consistent. There's a reason why they went from the 2 seed to I think they're a game or so out the 4 spot. I mean, there's a reason why. Don't get me wrong. I mean, they're a game and a half. They're a game and a half ahead of the 4 seed, right? A couple of weeks ago, they were the 2 seed, and they were firmly in that spot. They were firmly in that 2 spot, but they have to be more consistent defensively. And the way that this roster is constructed, Dame looks like he wants to play some defense, but he doesn't do it on a consistent basis. So it's not as corny as you think it is when we're being honest about what they gave up in order to be what they should be. Giannis can't make up for all of their inconsistencies. And yes, they have been tried. The Boston Celtics have been consistent. Yes, they have. Cleveland has actually been consistent. They got Donovan Mitchell out the lineup because he's been sick. But other than that, they've been the second best defense in the league. You guys can't say that. You guys cannot say that. The Milwaukee Bucks, I look at that unit and I look at what they bring, and the one thing that's necessary in terms of being consistent, they don't have it. And it's because of the roster construction. For that reason right there. So, It ain't because of the talent. No, it's because of the roster construction. It's not because Giannis is going to choke. It's not because it's not because Dame is going to choke. It's because teams are going to hunt their deficiencies, and there's really not much that they can do about it over a 7-game series.
Right. Alan R says, "Glad Wemby's not in my conference." LMAO. That's going to be a problem later on.
That's like Big Ox being a high school coach and seeing the freshman going, "Damn, I got to deal with this kid for 3 more years." What? I got to deal with this kid for 3 more years, and he's just going to get better. He's a freshman now, and he's fantastic. I got to deal with him for 3 more years. My goodness, what am I going to do?
You know what's crazy, Chilltown, I always like to see was guys that were freshmen and they were like goofy looking, like, oh man, this kid's about to be terrible. And then like come to find out, like, whoo, that kid got good.
One of my best friends to this day, known him since I was 12 years old, and we are this tall at 12 years old. I might even have him. I might even have an inch or so on him. Big Ox, we went from the 10th grade to the 11th grade, where he came back that summer. He was 6'7". I'm like, what the hell happened here? What happened? We went from this to this. And his game changed too. It wasn't like it's my man Roy. It wasn't like it wasn't like he just got taller. No, his game changed too, and it was incredible to watch. Yes.
Yeah, man. Shout out to a guy by the name of Will Davis. I don't know if any of y'all ever heard of Will Davis. He went to UC Irvine. He was on that team with the big African cat. Forget his name. That team from UC Irvine. He went to the same high school as me. When I left, he hadn't got it together yet, but he was only 2 years younger than me. I come back, a couple summers, come check him out, and I'm like, wow, this kid is dope. He actually just got he actually just got put into the Hall of Fame at UC Irvine. Shout out to Will Davis, man. Yeah. Kid really sprouted. Let's see, we got a couple guys in the back. We'll try to run through them real quick. As y'all know, we're on time restraints, but let's see what we can do. What's good, Nick?
What up, fellas? Hey, what a time to be alive where we could possibly have like a Orlando versus OKC Thunder finals within the next couple of years possibly
Okay,
happen.
next
You know
couple
what
years.
I mean?
Okay,
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, that's
And,
fine.
and don't act like America that you don't want to see that, because you do. Yes, you do.
hell yeah, I would love to see that.
100%
What? That
wanna
would
see
be
that.
fire.
Shea and Banchero in the finals, the future of the NBA. Yes, you do want to see that. Yes, you do.
I want to see it.
Orlando's one piece away, and from going back to what you were saying, Chill, they're only 2 games behind Philly right now.
Mm-hmm.
They could definitely catch them. Embiid's when's he coming back again? Like
next season.
Yo, Nick, I was trying to tell him at the beginning of the season, Nick, just make a trade right now. Get a point guard in here. Get these young guys out of here, and y'all can make a run. I don't want to listen.
Yo,
Nick.
I'm looking at Orlando and OKC. They're 1 player away. They're like 1 piece away from getting over the and it's interesting in my opinion with OKC because seeing Jalen Williams develop and progress, OKC might be in a situation where they're looking at SGA and Chet, and they might sell Jalen Williams stock as high as they can and try and get a 3rd star in there to pair up with them.
You think they would do that?
I think we live in a time where anything's possible, and that's very possible. It's a star-driven league. I still think, it looked like it was going back to the, back from to the pairs, to the combos, back from the big threes. But I still think big threes are still always going to be the wave. And if you look at SGA and Chet, and that'd be pretty ill dynamic. I'm surprised. What would y'all thoughts be if DeJounte ended up in OKC? How would y'all feel?
Well, I would like DeJounte in Orlando.
Yeah.
DeJounte in Orlando makes a lot of sense.
They could use a wing defender. That's not what they need in Oklahoma City. They straight in their backcourt in Oklahoma City. I think they good.
Ooh, you right, Big Ox. Oof, DeJounte in Orlando. Oof, that's scary.
I was calling for it, Nick. I'm telling you, that's the way it goes. No, but what about this though, Chilltown? If we just talked about the development of J-Dub, what if we see that same leap from a young guy like Anthony Black in Orlando? Like next year, if Anthony Black makes an incredible leap this summer, could Orlando?
Damn, my phone about to die.
What happens when you have stuff like that, Big Ox, is now that accelerates the process. So a guy like Anthony Black, who he turns out to be better than what we thought at this time. Well, now guess what we got to do? Now we got to start moving faster, because more times than not, when you get dudes like that do stuff like that, like what Shea doing, if we don't accelerate the process, we're gonna lose them. That's what's gonna ultimately happen. So Orlando's got to do the same thing. If Anthony Black ends up taking a leap where he goes from being a rookie and he's good to he's a double guy, now we got to start moving. Now we got to move faster. He need to make some guys expendable.
Right. Nick, you still there? Or did your phone die?
We lost.
Exactly. Okay, let's run through. Yo, Sturdy, what's up?
What up?
Yo, salute everybody. What's good with y'all? What's good, Ox? What's good, Chill? Been a minute, kind of busy, but first of all, shout out to the Bucks beating the team with the best defense in the Wolves yesterday. Chill, I understand you called a fool's gold due to roster construction, but what Tribe said in the chat was not a lie. Some of the narratives around the Bucks has been a little hyperbolic and over exaggerated, and some of the blame has been put too much on Giannis and Dame lately. I understand basic media and narrative principles. Oh, let's put majority of the blame on the best players, but in a team game, that don't make any sense. But I'm just giving the credit they just due in regards to beating one of the best teams in the league yesterday and having a favorable schedule for the remaining of the schedule. Could possibly get that 2 seed back because they're only a game and a half, I believe, from the Cavs. So that's
one game.
One game. So that's not impossible. But the team I want to focus on, right, is more so the Mavericks. And winning a 7-game win streak, beating the Suns in impressive fashion, having a favorable schedule, they could end up in the 4th seed. Now, I know what people are thinking. The Nuggets, the Clippers, the Thunder, the Wolves. Who comes out? If I'm saying the Mavs possibly finish the 4th seed, I don't think the Thunder is going to finish the 4th seed. If you see the top 4 standings in the West, it is marginally close. There is no major difference between the 1st seed and the 4th seed. And the way the Mavs,
They got to make some games up, though. I mean, we talking 4.5 games over the next. They got to really go on a run, and that means Oklahoma City got to tank in order for that to happen.
I don't expect OKC.
One of those three teams, whether it's Denver or the Clippers, if it's one of those teams that I'm thinking is going to fall over, it's probably the Clippers. That's the one team because I've seen it from them in the past. That's the only team that I'm thinking. But to make up those 4.5 games over the next 27 games, Oklahoma City, Denver, those teams got to fall over in order for Dallas to jump them.
Yeah, and McCollum, Chill, like we can't judge everything off the past, because this Clipper team is nowhere near what they were in the past. This team is mostly healthy. They're focused, and if you pay attention to some of the reports by the beat writers, they said they never seen a Clipper team in the past 10 years with this much camaraderie and belief in one another. And Ox, as a player, as a coach, and Chill, as a player, how important that is. For you to sit next to your team and have that much belief in him, that carries a long way. So being that so, I think Minnesota finished strong. I think the Clippers finished strong. I think Denver's championship experience, I think they understand they can't fall too short in the seeding, so they'll finish strong. But I think OKC, because of their lack of experience, they don't know how much it gets intense during these last 2 months. These last 2 months of the season, you're securing your seeding. And the way the Mavs been looking, if you look at their schedule, there are a lot of favorable wins, Chill. A lot of favorable wins.
But the difference with the Clippers is the one guy, because like you just said, in terms of camaraderie and in terms of chemistry, the reason why that's been going on is for one reason and one reason only. The post that's holding up the tent is there. That's Leonard. He wasn't there these last couple of years. Had he been there and had he been healthy and had he been available, I think that we having a different conversation about this Clipper team. That's why I'm going off of what I've seen in the past. Because when he breaks down, they break down. It's not just when he breaks down, they're still rolling. No, when he goes, they go. So if he can hold up, we're having a different conversation about the Clippers. But because of what I've seen from them in the past, over the last 4 years, I can't get on that train, man. I can't do it.
Yeah. No, I get what you're saying, Chill, but we can't. If we're gonna be consistent on the past, we gotta do the same thing for the Wolves. But we understand the Wolves. We understand. First of all, Coach Finch don't get enough credit. In my opinion, he should be the favorite to win Coach of the Year. But he
a couple of nights ago when they before the All-Star break when they smoked the Clippers, he outcoached Alou that night. He did. He outcoached him. Yes, he did.
He's gotten better as a coach, so I can't judge him off his past because he's shown improvement. Same thing for the Clippers. Correct. Even though we can't just judge him on the past because Kawhi has been available for majority of the year. Paul George has been available for majority of the year. And talking to a majority of guys, watching interviews of majority of guys about the Clippers, Russell Westbrook is a very great teammate. Very great teammate. He's always been at those
always. He's always been there. If you think about Russell Westbrook, and I don't want to cut you off, I want you to keep going. But if you think about Russell Westbrook, what's been the complaint from teammates about him?
No, none. I haven't found a single one.
Never. I never heard any teammate say a bad word about him. And KD left him, and he still loved him.
Yep. Yeah, he said it. He said it on his burner and on his podcast that I didn't leave because of Russ. I loved how they build the team around us. That's a problem.
Right.
And I think this Clippers team is nothing like they were in the past. I think just like the Wolves team, nothing like they were in the past. And I think this year, the 2020s, you said it multiple times here on the panel. The 2020s might be the 70s 2.0. I think this is going to be the most parity decade we had in basketball. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I welcome it, to be honest with you. I'm feeling it.
Definitely do. But all right, Stardy, appreciate you pulling up. We got
I appreciate y'all. Yeah. Like, comment, subscribe, and get that merch, y'all. It's right there. It's right there.
I'm acting like you don't know. How many times we gotta tell you?
No doubt. Well, PC fam, this was another episode of Chill with Chill. Saturday episode. We had a good time. I got to get outside, man. The sun is shining. So we'll check y'all on Monday on the panel. I'll be on playback tomorrow actually too. Showtime, you got any updates, anything for the people?
I'm on what you just said. I mean, it's not a cloud in the sky. I can feel that breeze. That breeze is talking to me like, I'm gonna come on outside. I was like, yo, I got to work, but as soon as I'm done with work, I'm coming right outside. Don't worry about that. I'm definitely gonna get on my bike I'm coming outside. So absolutely, man. But I will tell you guys this: put on a suit, drink water, don't drink and drive. Hey, man, call your mother. I can't tell you to call your mother and I don't call mine. I just talked to my mother last night. I just talked to her last night. She's doing great. So, hey, man, call your mother. Call your mother. And do not drink and drive. If you're in the area, call an Uber, call a cab, call my dude right here. He'll come get you. Just tell him where you at. He will come scoop you. Call him up, man. But until then, take it light. Take it.
All right, y'all. We'll check y'all next time.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.